intro music. Yeah! Woohoo!
Hey Star Trek Fleekin' fans, welcome back to another video, and this one I hope to help everybody out there in the game, as I want to go over a tool that we've had in the past that we've been updating to talk about officer sourcing. Because obviously a lot has been happening with officer sourcing over the past few years with a lot of improvements. In fact, we can actually argue that the new Section 31 update, I'm of course doing this during that month, we've seen a lot of the PvP officers all get thrown into one place, which is nice. Which, by the way, if you're watching good overlords over at Scopely, please continue to do stuff like this. We could desperately need all the things that relate to one another in one spot. In fact, I was actually talking to a couple of VIPs who wanted more updates to the officer mechanic in the officer tree right here, where you can actually go in and search. That would actually be quite nice. In fact, it'd actually be really nice if there was a mechanic that we could just access in-game that said, hey, if I want to source Talon, where do I go for that? Something for the good old overlords to think about. But until that becomes a thing, we have something for you. What do we have? Well, it's a spreadsheet. I feel bad being the anti-spreadsheet guy and using tons of spreadsheets. However, I will link this down in the comment section below. What you need to do is to make your own, so you make a copy. However, you can always refer back to it. The reason I say make a copy is for one individual feature part of this that you might want to deploy yourself, and that is at the very top where you can adjust your ops level. So currently, I actually have it set to what my low-level account is to see what can I access and where. But if I wanted to have a more accurate view, because keep in mind, it does change as you level up, I can then swap to, say, one of my other accounts, and let's just do this one right here and see where those sourcings are. So I do want to kind of cover in this video where some blanket officers are in terms of like, okay, you get most of them here, but also want to discuss the actual individual officers. I mean, it's stuff that's really important to go after. So for example, many of you out there are constantly doing hostile grinds and hostile metas. So that means that you really are going to want some of these Strange New World officers. It means you want to come down here and see, okay, well, where do I get, say, Strange New World Pelia? Well, there's actually several ways to get Pelia, and real quick, we will be continually updating this. It was started by Silvis, and several others have helped maintain it. Shout out to those players. Currently, Jules works on it as well. Dejash, I definitely want everybody to have credit for it. So this is covered in the first page of this sheet. So again, down in the sections below. But let's talk about where the game currently has a lot of the sourcing, and again, where it can be better. Obviously, we have the recruit tab. I do want to point out that if you're a player who has access to the IA building, I would recommend pulling this every single day. Why pull this every single day, you might ask? Well, the logic is pretty simple, because of the officers in it. If you are no longer able to invest in any of the particular ships, then you should be spending the currency. Remember, there's a 5,000 limit for this currency, the one right on the top of your screen, the archive data shards. So if you've hit that limit, as in you've gone as far as you can with your ship upgrades, and you need to be pulling this every day. And again, we just talked about things like Pelia, which is for ISO defense, but also there's Harrison shards, as you can see, Shran, Jonathan Archer, Hoshi Sato. Some of them may have value, some of them may not. There are a lot of chests here. Now, I do want to point out a couple other things. I still am a firm, adamant, in fact, very loud and vocal believer that the Ultra chest needs to be split into at least 2 different boxes, simply because of what's in it. Now, to be fair, go ahead and play everybody's favorite sound clip.
To be fair.
Well, to be fair.
To be fair, yes, there are changes that have already been implemented. For example, we have the Galactic Recruit section, which I just skipped over, and we also have this changing. So level 30 and below, this looks very different than it does now. In fact, I can put on the screen what it looks like for my level 29 account. You see less officers in it, making it easier to get some of the ones that you need. But if you take a look at what's in there, you're going to see PvP officers, PvE, lots of things that matter. So an update to that is needed. Also want to reiterate for our low levels who watch this, I'm a very big proponent of pulling these recruit boxes so that you can turn them into transporter patterns, as I've done with every single one of these rares and epics. Anytime I get one of these shards, that's transporter patterns to allow me to then handpick some of the epics that I might find valuable in the transporter pattern window. Reminder for those watching, transporter patterns only appear when you actually have the pattern. So you will not see this if you don't have any transporter patterns on you, but you can see this as low as, in the low 20s. If you manage to pull them out, I actually have transporter patterns in my low level account in the 20s. So made it very helpful. So I can now target Honor Guard Worf if I wanted to, even though I've already maxed him, just to get those tied in. But again, comes back to the sheet itself. Let's take a look at that one more time. So again, Strange New Worlds, let's talk about the value of it. Let's talk about, say, For example, Hemmer. Hemmer is very good if you're in the G4, G5 range. You can even use him quite later. So he has 3 different sourcing methods right there. What about Strange New World James T. Kirk? 3. You see some of these with 4, like Pelia. And even some that are crazy, like OG Spock with 6. But it's very important to note where these are so that you can then try to target and find them for your accounts. As you have seen with the introduction of waves. Wave defenses, especially these solo wave defenses, are requiring players to have more of the PvE groups. Now, I can give you several of them. You've seen a video where I went through that. If you haven't watched the video, strongly encouraged for anybody who is level 45 and above. But let's take a look at things like this. Picard Beverly E Data, or you could just say Pike Moreau E Data, because they both work the exact same way. Why is that important? Believe it or not, I actually have Enterprise E Data on my low-level account, and no, that's not a spin mechanic. That's just a you got a mechanic. Did you know that you can get Enterprise E Data 4 different ways? Yeah, that's pretty good. And keep in mind, that's at the time of this video. Where can you get Enterprise E Data? Well, I'll put it right here on the screen. You can get them in the Galactic Recruits, the Holodeck, the Isomatter Refinery, and the Vindicator Refinery. This is a great tool to help you do that, and we continually update. And I do think officer sourcing as a whole has gotten better. And what I mean by that is, for those who've played the game for a long time, there was a time where officers came out and there was no pathing that came out for them for months or even years. As you can see with the Section 31 store at the time of this video, new PvP officers already getting added in. You can also find other sourcings across the game that have also, added in important things like Seska, who just came out. We're starting to see that be more regular, if not problematic, in terms that it's all over the place. It's remembering, well, what faction are they are? For example, some of the best Armada officers in the game are here in the Bajoran. Yes, you got to pull them over here, but are they located in other places? And that was the idea behind this spreadsheet, to update it so that you could find what you needed at any given time. Even something like Miles O'Brien, who is hands down one of the best. Did you know he has 3 places that you can source Miles O'Brien? The Ultra Recruits, which we looked at previously, the Bajoran store, where we are now, and the Vindicator Refinery. If you've unlocked the Vindicator free to play, whether that was through an event store or through doing PvP arenas, the way that you can get more of those shards. That's down here in the ISO matter area. You can see we have this section for, again, we talked about Pelia, who has a ton of sourcing. We also see Strange New World Sam Kirk, James Kirk, Nurse Chapel, one of the best officers in the game. Again, this is a great tool to help you advance in STFC, finding what you need. And then here, another set of officer sourcing where you can see Neelix, Tom Paris, Tuvok, Harry Kim, all these very, very valuable for you in terms of getting better as a player. You want to get better. The ISO Refinery and then the Vindicator Refinery down here that I was mentioning, helping you source fleet commanders. So good. Also, right over here, look at all these Armada and PvE officers that you can unlock via these refineries. The trouble is keeping up with all these refineries, and that's what the spreadsheet hopes to help alleviate that pain point with. And it's good to refresh this as a player, that whether you are a veteran or a new player, to kind of get an idea of where you need to make sure you're focusing. Now, refineries are an obvious thing, but what if you're not much of a PvP player? Well, then you don't need to worry about the Section 31 area of the game.
Whoa, 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 whoa. No, we're not doing that. No. I don't know why you're into this, but we're stopping it right now. You should be ashamed of yourself.
What if you are one of those people, and believe it or not, they exist? What if you hate Armadas? Then you don't care about the Bajoran pulls for the officers. Maybe you're just there for the mats. You don't care about the Vindicator pull for the officers. You can skip that, but you're pulling it to make sure that you're getting your Fleet Commander SPs and your Fleet Commander shards in the Vindicator Refinery. So whether or not you want all the officers in the game like me, I see them as Pokemon, gotta catch them all. This is going to help you find and pinpoint what's going to improve your game. Because as we say, and heck, in this video, I've said it ad nauseum, there's simply way too many things all over the place. So it's important to talk about it. So hopefully this helps you out. And if it did, comment down below, like the video, save the puppies, like the video. Appreciate y'all. Live long and plunder. Stay safe in the Space Cowboys. Deuces, that's me. Catch you on the next Star Trek Fleet Command video. I'm Rev, and I'm out. Done rambling. Use the spreadsheets. Gosh, I never thought I'd say that a few years ago.
I would like to request to Scopely to add more Klingons to the game. That is what I was told to do, and so I am doing it. Which, you know, is not maybe the best thing as a leader to just do what you're told, but it seems like a good request to make, to add more Klingons. Everything is better with Klingons, am I right? I am right. because I'm a Klingon. Klingon mach tach judge. We are Klingons. Let it remain. All right. Laurel's on a roll today. She's very excited.